like me who love football, really want to play, and dream of playing in the NFL. Some of you may have let your kids play youth football, and others, like my parents, will only let me play kicker. My dad reminds me that my friend's dad, who play in the NFL, won't let his kids play at all due to the risk of head injuries. So I guess in about 4 years, me and my friend Easton, whose parents will only let him play kicker too, will be fighting over the few minutes of playtime kickers get in each game. I get it, anxious parents. I've seen the injuries. I remember watching an NFL game in which the quarterback snapped the ball and threw it to a receiver who was knocked off his feet before he caught the ball. He didn't move after hitting the ground. I asked my dad what happened, since he's a doctor, and he said it looked like a spinal cord injury, which I know changes your life if it don't kill you. Attempting to prove my parents that this was not normal, I did some research and the results were disappointing. I discovered that 90% of NFL players have to retire because of their injuries. I got frustrated since this didn't prove my point, but I kept digging for information. Then I looked at NFL players that had to end their career because of their injuries. Here are some examples. Number 1. In Week 2, 2001, Drew Geissal, a quarterback for the Patriots, was hit at the chest by Mo Lewis. He was bleeding from his rib cage inside his chest, and he said that he almost died. Number 2. In Week 2, 2001, in Week 14, 2019, Luke Kuechly, a linebacker for the Carolina Panthers, suffered a concussion against the New Orleans Saints. After he found out that he wasn't as fast or as physical anymore, he announced his retirement at only age 29. I got frustrated since this didn't prove my point at all. But here's the thing, I love football and I really want to play. We must be able to solve this. Kids like me really need football to be a safer sport so we can play and not get injuries. I looked into it and learned that it is impossible to engineer equipment that can prevent every concussion and every broken bone. But there are some cool new technologies that may soon make football safer, only if we can implement them in youth programs. Number 1, mobile virtual players have developed crash test dummies to test gear near lifelike conditions to ensure the gear works as designed. Number 2, fragile helmets are in development that crumple on impact, absorbing shocks and preventing concussions. Number 3, ultra-thin helmet liners are in development that reduce shear forces on players' heads. Number 4, concussion detection technology has been more aware to include concussion goggles to act as an objective of marking concussions, blood testing to detect a concussion in 20 minutes from the injury, and helmet sensors. Number 5, scientists have developed smaller and safer shoulder pads to be smaller and safer than the traditional shoulder pads. Well, the challenge with these new technologies is that they may be too expensive. In good news, some coaching developments are entirely coaching related and don't require teams to buy equipment. These are things we can do today. Number 1, there's been more awareness of head trauma in recent years, and I hope coaches don't put injured players back in the game until they heal. Number 2, there's been changes to the rules to reduce unnecessary roughness, such as helmet-to-helmet contact and tackling a player after the play. Number 3, at the college level, teams are studying helmetless and padless practices to see if the increase in body awareness that comes with not having protective gear helps players move in more self-protective ways, thus training in safe movement. Number 4, coaches are learning to rest their players since overtired players are more likely to hurt themselves. All my research did not, unfortunately, result in a great argument that football is safe in the way it is currently practiced. I do hope that between safer football gear and more effective injury prevention coaching, football can become a safer sport in the future. What I hope you will do as our parents is to advocate for the safest football gear possible, with this as well as the best coaching practices with safety as a first priority. Thank you for watching.